Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Reine Des Fleurs. And today we are going to start on Orpheus. We'll start investigating him and we'll go visit him. Well, actually, I don't remember if we're visiting him in this one or if we're just going to start investigating. But we got a little bit of discussion to do here with these two, and then we'll start getting back on the job. So, Orpheus is our last knight to visit in the first rounds, and then we have to visit each night again after this. And then after that, there's like some kind of event, and then we'll actually be able to officially pursue Leon. So we are still going back to Leon. We have to visit everybody twice. There's still more prologue stuff to be done, basically. Although at this point it's not called the prologue, it's the common path. That's what it is. There's still more common path to do. That's the deal. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. What do people think of Partidam and the goddess? She was asking them about what they saw when they were down on the land. But they were saying they never left the shrines, so they didn't really see much about the land and the people.
It depends on the country, so I can't give you a complete answer to that question.
For instance, Pavillon, where I was stationed, has preserved many relics from ancient times. Of course, they are aware of Grace and the goddess as legends that have been passed down throughout generations. But that doesn't mean that they actually believe in it. And they just think of them as important subjects in their research. Subjects of research. I never imagined that I would hear such words, and was momentarily at a loss for words. Okay, Sumabeni, how about in Chrysanthemum?
They ostensibly hold up faith in the goddess, but they don't actually believe in it. They are a people who had to clear wastelands to build their lives, so they don't really depend on the grace of the goddess anymore.
I believe Campagnol is of a similar opinion.
Ah, yes. I heard that from Otonami that they were not really serious in their beliefs.
So overall, Valais seems to be the only country truly devoted in its faith to the goddess. Is that so? If others who live in Partidam happen to hear what I just heard, they would probably feel the same. Because the goddess Melene is the sole being that could be considered mother of all Hanabito. Even if things took a turn for the worst, our love and respect for her would never fade. Solview would not exist without the blessings of the goddess. Well, the rain has been absent for a long time. It is no wonder that faith has faded. Because there is nothing that can be done to prove to the Tanabito that the goddess exists, while grace could not be sent to bless the lands.
But people who live in desolated areas believe fanatically, praying and hoping to receive grace. Both are very extreme cases, and, well, it just gives us mixed feelings.
I didn't know anything about the condition of the land. I can't believe I have been so ignorant. What have I been learning all this time? Princess.
Don't be so sad. Being Reine doesn't mean that you have to know everything.
That's right. The Reine and the Knights have their own respective duties. Supporting Princess is the duty of the Knights, and that includes providing knowledge of the land. Princess, all you have to do is just keep doing what you're doing to fulfill your obligations. Is that really so? Even though Ageha and Sumabeni tell me this, I still feel that something is not right. I can't seem to resist this urge to break out of my ignorance. Most likely because of the weight of this feeling, each step I take on my way to the mansion feels unbelievably heavy. But being depressed will not change anything. If you can figure out what it is that you are lacking, then all you have to do is put your efforts into filling that area. I hope I will have a meaningful time with the person that I spend time with next. And why even bother giving me a selection when I only have one choice? But, okay, Orpheus, here we go. The Western Knight, Dilemma and Struggle.
西の騎士の迷いと葛
I just want to know more about who you are. Would you mind if I invite you to a tea party? I would be glad if you would not mind. The Western Knight Orpheus. The Western Knight Orpheus. I begin to think as I go through the report which his butterfly Asagi has written. When Orpheus was chosen to be the knight, he initially kept rejecting the position. He appeared to feel that he, who was raised as an orphan, did not deserve a high position of such heavy responsibility. He finally agreed in the end, but he still seems to lack confidence sometimes. I'm not sure if I can be helpful, but I will do my best to serve under you. Please, take me under your care. He was rejecting knighthood. Questions rise in my mind at this unexpected statement. Thinking back on his speech and behavior, it's hard to imagine that he had such a past. But that's what is written in the report, so I should just ask him more about it. Princess, let us go gather some information. I wish it wasn't always the same text, but oh well. You can count on us this time. I seriously doubt it. Okay, please take care, you two. I waited for them, and they returned a short while later. They are not so easy on us. He kept a strict guard. We still need more training to do this. But the butterfly of the West Asagi has some key information for this. Asagi. Okay. You two, thank you. I want to know a little bit more about him before I see him. Who can give me useful information? Who do I want to ask? Okay, let's see. We want Asagi, of course. And we want Hubert. And I tried Gislan because since Orpheus had information about Gislan, I thought Gislan would know some stuff about Orpheus. Since it seemed like maybe they were kind of friendly. And then of course Orpheus himself. Yes, that is exactly what I want. Impression of the Western Knight Orpheus, Asagi. Come to think of it, Orpheus originally didn't want to be a knight. It was unexpected to hear, because he seemed very gentle and cooperative. Well, I agree with you on that. He does look that way. You mean that he is not? Yes, I think his positive attitude is something he needed in order to live his life. He sometimes just looks up at the moon in the sky at night and seems to be so lost. His face expresses such a deep sadness that you wouldn't believe that it's him. But that side of him might actually be his true face. Seems like I need to know who he truly is to understand him. Well, that was a short visit. But we got something useful anyway. Impression of the Western Knight Orpheus, Hubert.
I heard that he had rejected the position of knight at first. That brings back memories. It reminds me of somebody.
I don't know who you are talking about.
Oh, have you forgotten? Who was it that used to cry so loudly? Why am I the rain?
That was the past. Stop being so mean to me. I was not prepared back then, but I am different now.
I know, but that's why I thought you would be able to understand Orpheus well. Do you still remember what I told you that time?
Of course I remember.
If not you, then who? Perhaps he needs to hear such words.
Orpheus and I, we may be alike in that way. If so, that may be something that only I could convey to him. Impression of the Western Knight Orpheus, Gislan.
It is quite surprising that as little as he is, he was actually chosen to be a knight.
He is actually older than I am.
He is still a little kid to me. Of course, you are as well.
He probably hasn't even recognized Orpheus as a friend. Apparently not, although Orpheus considers him a friend. Poor Orpheus. Response to the invitation, Orpheus. Thank you for accepting my invitation. I will do my best to entertain you. And we'll find out what he has to say in the next episode. Which, you know, this little part before we actually go meet him usually isn't much anyway. But I always like to hear what they have to say before we visit them. I don't know why. I guess it's just because no matter who you go to, it's going to be useless. There's only 2 people that give you useful information, so it doesn't matter who you pick for the other ones at all. I wish I could say more during these readings, but I have to really concentrate when I do these translated ones because I'm looking at 2 screens at once, and it's really difficult to keep those done in tandem for me. I mean, I guess I'm just not that coordinated or something, but I have a hard time doing that, and that's why I don't really comment much most of the time when I'm reading these. It's really easy to lose your place and then just totally get lost and then totally screws up the whole video. So I hope you all forgive me for that, or maybe I'll just get more used to it later on. Maybe once I learn a lot more Japanese, I won't even need to read stuff anymore. I can just read it directly to you, which would be really cool. But that's a long, long way away. But anyway, I hope to see you in my future videos. I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye bye everybody.